Hi, my name is Corey Bell, and I am the president of Lead to Client CRM, as well as the owner and founder of Bell Benefits Group. In this video, I want to talk about the 5 things you must have in place to make sure that you win as an insurance agent. Unfortunately, a lot of agents get started in this business and they are not prepared for what is to come ahead of them. And it is really not their fault. They are misled by uplines. They are misled by advertising, making grand promises of high earnings with very little to no work. And it is something that absolutely plagues our industry. So I really would like to set the record straight and let you know that there is a lot of money to be made, but it does require a lot of hard work and some preparation. So let's jump right in. The very first thing that you need to recognize that you have to have in place, you have to have available to you so that you can win as an insurance agent is you must have financial runway. You have to have savings. You cannot start this business broke. Now, my recommendation is that you have at least $2,000 set aside dedicated for the business. In addition to having the $2,000 set aside and earmarked for your business, you must also have 3 months of living expenses ready to go at your disposal. The reason I say this is nobody should be limping into this business. Yes, we have agents that make it and make money doing this part-time, but I will tell you that the most successful agents go and they go hard right out of the gate. So recommendation, $2,000 that you can invest into your business, and that's going to go for things like licensing, E&O insurance, leads, systems. You have to have that ready to go, and then 3 months of living expenses. Now, the reason you need to have 3 months of living expenses set aside is because even if you come out of the gate and you start tearing it up right away, there is going to be a lag between you writing policies and you getting paid on policies. There are some carriers out there that will pay you very quickly, but a lot of other carriers wait till policies issue. It's also worth noting that you probably are not going to be as good in weeks 1 and 2 and months 1 and 2 as you are at the end of year 1. So it's definitely something to consider that you should feel comfortable saying, I've got the money to invest in my business. I've got 3 months worth of living expenses sitting in an account, so I don't need to stress about the initial financial startup. The startup for an insurance agent is very low compared to most other businesses. A lot of other businesses, you're having to come in with $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 to start some sort of a brick and mortar, and you don't need that as an insurance agent. You can come in with a much lower investment, and it is a great business opportunity for somebody that is wanting to go into business for themselves. The second thing you must have in place to ensure that you are winning as an insurance agent is a supportive friends and family network. I've seen it so many times where the insurance agent themselves is really excited about this new career opportunity. However, they maybe come home and a spouse or a sibling or a parent is not supportive of their endeavors. The honest truth, it is a tough job. You will face a lot of rejection. You will have some initial days where you're going to question, is this worth it? And if you have a significant other, a spouse, a family member, a friend, somebody in your ear that's planting seeds that it's not worth it, it's something that you need to address early on. So my recommendation is that you get clear with those people that are going to be influences in your life and say, I'm committed to doing this and I want your support. When I am down, I want you to help lift me up. And when I win, I want you to celebrate with me. I'm committed to doing this. I'm going to do it, and I want you to walk this with me. Now, this can be a challenge, especially if you're talking about a spouse and you have commingled finances and they're not there. But I promise you, I've seen it time and time and time again. If you have an unsupportive spouse, if you have an unsupportive parent, friend, family, and they are a big influence into your mindset, something we're going to talk about in a little bit, it is going to be the kiss of death. So you need to address it before you begin your career as an insurance agent. The third thing that you have to find and make sure that you have in place prior to starting is that you have an effective mentor. This is so important. I've seen people get licensed, they go out, and that's just an afterthought on who I want to work with. In fact, the thing they look for the most is where can I get the biggest contract? And the fact of the matter is, contract is probably not one of the most important things at all that you need to worry about. Obviously, you want to make money, and the commission percentage that you contract with is a factor. However, it is one of many, many, many factors. An effective mentor is going to get you set up with top-notch training. They're going to give you access to products. They're going to teach you how to underwrite. They're going to teach you how to close sales. They're going to teach you how to support your clients once you get them. I highly encourage you to consider all of those as the most important things when choosing a mentor. The commission percentage will come. It's important that you have a mentor that's available for one-on-one training, someone that's going to take you under their wing and be able to answer all the questions with you. They should be supportive, but you also should look for a mentor that is really willing to give you the truth and make sure that they can give you feedback on your calls, feedback on your approach, feedback on what you're doing. They can look at your numbers, your metrics, the leads you're working, all of that, and help you problem solve. You do not want to walk this alone. You want to have a strong mentor by your side. The fourth thing that you have to consider when you are coming into the business, and you must absolutely make sure that you are willing to commit. I always tell agents, commit for a year. Do not make any big decisions during the first year. You are here, you've saved up the money, you've gotten your 3 months runway, you've had that conversation with your family and friends, you've found that mentor. At this point, you are ready to go, but you must commit for a year. Don't dip your toes in the water and think 2 months later, this isn't for me. 3 months later, it's not for me. Commit for a year. At the end of that year, you can look back at it. But I promise you, you will find that you're profitable, that you're on the right path if you commit for 1 year. In addition to committing for a year, you also want to make sure that you commit to the process. If you have a great mentor, they will teach you effective processes that you can follow. And it's really important that you stick with it. I've seen it time and time again. Agents come on board, they maybe work through 30, 50, 100 leads, and they say, well, I need to change this. Don't change it, right? Your mentor is recommending this because they know it works. So don't change it. Stay with it. Stay the path. Stay the course. Have faith. Commit to the process that sounded great to you, that you were sold by your mentor. Don't abandon it just because it got tough. In addition to committing to the process, committing to consistency is key. What I have seen a lot out of agents, and part of the reason we have such a huge failure rate in this industry, is that it gets a little tough and they take their foot off the gas. Or even worse, they have a little bit of success and they celebrate by not working. So consistency means set your schedule, set your dial times, if you're a field agent, set the days you're going out in the field, be consistent with the script that you're using, be consistent with the leads you're using and the leads you're purchasing. Don't vary that. I've seen agents, come in and they'll purchase 50 leads or 100 leads and they get a good flow going. And then I look up and a week later or 2 weeks later, they're not buying leads because they have so many they haven't contacted. Keep fresh lead flow coming in. Be consistent with your approach, with your purchase, with your sales system, everything. Consistency is super important. And along the same lines with consistency, we want to commit to our activity. I have a phrase, activity fixes everything, and it really does. But activity is so important. Whether you are talking to everybody that day or whether you are, just swinging and not getting people on the phone, commit to the activity. Say, I am going to dial. If I'm a telesales agent, I am going to dial. These are my dial hours. I'm going to go hard. If you're a field agent, and you're saying my activity is I'm going to set 10 appointments in a day and I'm going to sit on at least 4, do that. And if you don't come into the office or don't, dial to set your appointments and get 8 of them and then go sit on 2 of them and spend the rest of your time in a Starbucks, Go get in houses, whether it means knocking on doors or whatever. If you're a telesales agent and you've gone through your leads, go through them again. This is another reason you want to keep that lead funnel coming in, right? So keep going through them, keep working them hard, because the consistency in your activity will pay off. And the last thing that I like to talk about, and I really do think this is probably the most important, is your mindset. Now, when we talk about mindset, people define that differently. But for mindset, I'd really like to think about just thinking like an entrepreneur, thinking like a business owner. Unfortunately, a lot of insurance agents come in and they treat it like a hobby, not like a business. Now, I would recommend 2 people specifically that I would just absolutely soak up. So the first would be Carol Dweck, and her book Mindset is huge. It will absolutely change the way you think about things, going from I can do this or I can't do this to it's a continuum and I'm going to continue to grow as I go. Absolutely worth the read. Another fantastic book, or another fantastic author, just about every book he's written is fantastic, is John Gordon. All of those books are great. They're all about positive energy, making sure that you're, as he would say, feeding the positive dog. It really makes a difference. You want to make sure that you are feeding yourself with the energy that you are planning to put out there. Your clients will appreciate it, I promise you. Another person that I would recommend that you listen to, and I love his podcast, is Jocko Willink. And his Jocko podcast, he also wrote a book called Extreme Ownership. And it is all about you taking your business and taking it by the horns and owning it. Now, here's something that I want to contribute to that type of thinking. When you take the bull by the horns, when you accept responsibility for everything in your business, whether it be the failures or the successes, 100%, if you take all of that, what you will find is that you are liberated. Now, here's what I mean by that. For instance, let's say I'm not having the income that I want to have. And so I start saying, well, I don't like my training, or my comp is too low, or these leads are not good, whatever. You are basically saying you're a victim of circumstance. There's nothing you can do about it. I guess if your comp is too low, you could try to go to another contract level with a different agency. But honestly, you're just putting a Band-Aid on a broken leg. So the issue you have is you're not taking ownership of your business. And when you do, it is very liberating, because you know what? It's not the leads, it's your approach. And if you say that, you can control your approach. You can't control the lead. I guess you could change lead vendors. You could generate your own. You could dial aged, whatever you want to do. But there's always going to be a problem with the leads. If that's your mindset, there will always be a problem with the leads. Guaranteed. If it's your training, then you are always going to blame the training. You're always going to look at it and say, well, if I had been trained this or taught that. There is so much information out there. There are so many YouTube content creators that have fantastic tips and tricks, and it's all over the internet. You know, the insurance community is a great community. You can find whatever you want, but if you take the ownership and you say, it's not the training. You know, when I mentor people, I always ask them, what do you want to work on today? It is not my responsibility to say, hey, I want you to work on this, this, and this. You have to be the driving force in your business. You have to take ownership, and you have to be the person that really, really, really makes it go. So just to recap, those 5 things we need to have in place to make sure we're successful is the startup capital. We also need to make sure that we've had those conversations with our friends and family to make sure they're behind us and we're all on the same page there. After that, we want to start looking for a great mentor, somebody that can train you and support you and help guide you through this business. Following that, you really need to look at your commitment level and make sure that you are all in for 1 full year minimum. And then the last thing is take a look at that mindset. Always be feeding it. Feed it with business positive literature, business positive podcasts. There are so many out there. I hope you found this content successful, and hopefully you will smash the like, subscribe, turn the notifications on so you are made aware of anything that we come out with in the future. And from Lead to Client CRM, as always, happy CRM.